We might just add that back in. Tess Miller.
Hey, everybody.
Show again.
We might have already started. That's fine.
Yeah, we already did start. We're gonna just
Not branded, you guys. It's not branded.
Although we do love a good C4.
Yes.
Not
I drink a
sponsored.
lot of caffeine.
Yeah. Well, you know what you were telling me about your days. You wake up at what time?
Like 2:45, 3. Still.
So are you getting the average like 7-8 hours of sleep, would you say? Or you just can function with
I feel like I can function off of like 5.
Yeah.
I think there's some truth in that. Like some people don't need quite as much. My
Yeah.
dad's the same way. He gets like 3 hours of sleep. He's crazy. He probably could use more sleep. But I just feel like anymore, kind of groggy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like there's no clarity
Yeah.
whenever you oversleep. I
Yeah.
feel the same way.
My body kind of hurts. Like I'm getting old or something. Like, I don't know. Or just maybe I need a new mattress. To be honest, I probably just need a new mattress.
Okay, you know, once I hit 30, and
Yeah.
you just turned 30, you said, once you hit 30, mattresses are so important.
Well, I, for the last month, up until last week, have been sleeping on my dog's bed.
Aww.
I know. I'm so cute. No, actually, it's very, very dumb. I just moved into a house and didn't move my mattress. I
congratulations.
moved everything by myself, and then I was like, oh, everything but my mattress. The thing I
Okay.
should have moved first. So then I procrastinated moving my mattress for like a good 3 weeks. And I was just like sleeping on my dog's bed. I've never felt worse.
Yeah.
No.
And then to operate at the level that you operate,
Yeah.
we need to prioritize the
Yeah.
mattress.
I did get it. I did get it. So,
So how's
feeling
the
good.
sleep been since then?
It actually feels weird now. So it's like I'm on a mattress and I just kind of feel like, oh, it's too soft. I kind of
What
miss,
mattress is it?
I don't know.
Is it like a soft one?
I put a topper on it and I don't really think I'm into the topper. I like the firmness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the top
The
off.
older I've gotten, the more I realize I need a firm mattress. Like,
Yeah.
Almost like sleeping on the floor.
Yeah. Like I kind of regret getting a mattress. I should have kept the dog bed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's orthopedic dog bed, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's all you needed. And you're so tiny too. That's all.
Yeah.
that's all you
My dog's so
needed.
spoiled. He's like 40 pounds and I have a mattress or a dog bed that's like the
Aw,
size of
he's
the
like
table.
the little king of the house.
The king, queen,
Yeah.
the owner.
Yeah.
It's his name on the deed.
Yeah.
You know?
That's too funny. Well, thank you so much for joining us
course.
today. I know that, so I mean, I briefly met you just
Mm.
in classes and so intimidated because you come in like
No.
a storm because you're so good at what you do. And you're also, yes, shredded.
I just
Everybody
stomp.
wants to, yeah. But then you're so sweet and so nice.
Thank you.
And it just makes everybody feel so welcomed in the classes. And also the way you organize the classes to handle so many people is just amazing.
Thanks.
But the experience that you have in the classes, obviously that comes from a grind somewhere. You didn't
Yeah.
just like happen to be a good coach, right? In fitness.
True.
Yeah.
That is true. It's taken, oh geez, like 7 years, I think. 7 years.
7 years.
Wait. What year is it? 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years that you first got into fitness.
Yeah.
What was that trigger for you?
Well, I went to school. I went to Baylor, and I was like, I got a scholarship to these things, and I went for general studies
Yeah. You're,
because I was like, what
Like,
do I
we'll
want to be?
figure it out.
What do I want to be when I grow up? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Which is like a constant throughout my whole journey through school. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I was really interested in how the body worked. Then my last semester of school, well, actually, probably my last year of school, I had some really, really cool professors and was learning some really cool things. Last semester of school, I was like, I'm gonna get a Fitbit, and I've said this before. I got a Fitbit, not sponsored, and I like wore it one day on my last semester of school. It was like 4,000 steps, and I thought I was so healthy, and all these things I had learned was like completely. I was just not practicing what I was about to do for the rest of my life, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. So since that day, I think I've only missed 10,000 steps. I'm not even kidding you, maybe once in 7 years.
So you get 10,000
Even when I'm like
steps.
sick,
No way.
I just pace around. Yeah, I'm crazy.
Wait, so you just pace around? Is that, or
Like if it's a day where I was like, for example, whenever it was like the pandemic, I got sick and I was just like pacing in my house. I had to get it. I became obsessed, which isn't,
yeah,
that's not the healthiest way to go. But
yeah.
it was like that made me want to be healthy or like really start getting healthy. I wasn't in the best of shape. I was like skinny fat, as you'd say. Then I did last semester an internship in Fort Worth, and they had me coach classes, which was like mortifying. I don't know why, but
What
it was
kind
like
of classes were they?
group fitness classes,
Okay.
which is now my whole life. But like, I can remember the first one that I did. I was like, "Hi, I'm Tess," like shaking,
Yeah.
mortified, and I had no idea what I was doing. But thank God for that, because that job or that internship led to a job at the same place, and I was around some really cool people who were good coaches then, and still are, and really good role models for me, I guess, to learn.
Yeah.
And then I did like 5 classes a day for like 2 years at that place. Yeah, kind of built that up. And then, geez, a lot of stuff has happened. Pandemic happened, lost my job.
Okay.
And then I moved essentially into a new position at a different company where then my entire life was just group fitness.
And so where are you living at this time?
Right now, you want my address?
No. No. Where were you living at whenever?
Fort Worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fort Worth. So not Austin.
Not Austin, no. So I was at a place called Alcon Laboratories, which is like an eye care company. It was corporate wellness. So there was like a big campus. It was really pretty cool. Really big campus, like thousands of employees, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they had a gym on site, and that's where I learned to coach, did my internship, got a job, moved through. It was like contracted work. It was a little bit different. So they had a few companies in but kept employees on. When the pandemic happened, they made medical supplies, so they shut it down, because you can't be doing,
Right.
I guess it makes sense. But they didn't open it back up. And then do you know where Keller is?
Yeah. Keller, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a job in that area, Alliance Town Center, Keller area, which is just north of Fort Worth,
Yeah.
I think. I'm not good at that. But and that's where I stayed for like 2 years on the dot right before I came here.
Wow.
And I've been here for a year and a month.
So would you say you're more of like a, Fort Worth, Dallas girly, or an
No, I
Austin
love it
girly?
here.
Yeah.
I love it here. I feel like there was so much good in Fort Worth for me, but it was also like, I don't know. I feel like I've really come into my own here, kind of started new, got a house. Like, it feels good here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so thankful to have you.
I'm so grateful to be here.
I don't know where else you could be but here.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, and I don't know what was that connection to come to Collective?
Well, long and really crazy story. How did I come to Collective? High level, I lost my last job. And then I was like, so I worked with the same company for the last 3 years, I guess, like 2 years in Fort Worth and then a year here, give or take, before I got this Collective job in February of this year. And I lost that job and lost every connection I had with that job.
Wow.
Yeah, over the last few years. So then, thankfully I have some friends, Lisa and Romaine, who have an app called the Strong app, and they had reached out to me right before I moved to Austin, talking about some things. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, you guys, I had no idea what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they came through for me so seriously, and we actually, super grateful for them. And they're about to have a baby. Shout out to your baby. But they helped me so much, and we work together now. And through that work, we filmed some stuff at Collective.
Oh.
And that's how I met Simon, Jeremy, Devin, Jordan, all of them. That
They probably saw you and were like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
We have to have her.
Yeah. And that's kind of, Devin told me the other day, he was like, everybody thought you were going to be, and I get this a lot, I don't know why. Everybody thought you were going to be kind of mean or too serious.
Yeah.
But you weren't, so it was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, thank goodness for all them. And Elise and Eric, all of them really stuck up for me and were like, hey,
Yeah.
maybe you should stick around. And that's how I got here.
Wow, it's really those thin threads that can totally put your career or whatever it is on different paths.
Yeah.
And I think that when you just serve people with the right heart, because teaching group fitness, you interact with so many people, but you also impact so many people.
Yeah.
And I think when your heart is in the right place where you love what you do and you just sow into people every day, even when you don't feel like it. I'm sure there were some days where you're like, not today.
Been a couple, just not a lot, but a few.
Yeah, and to show up every day. But I think in those daily disciplines, those blessings will come.
Yeah, I agree. And I think over the course of my last probably 4 years, I've learned a lot, but the consistent thing has been like being with people and helping people and like watching people grow. And that's been like my favorite part of this whole journey, because it doesn't matter what company I'm with, I feel really good about what I'm doing. And I think that's helped me a lot as well, be comfortable, because I came in here like my first week and coached a class, and I thought back after that, I'm like a huge reflective person. I thought back to like my very first group fitness class, and I was just like, man, what a change, you know what I mean? Like, to be comfortable in this space and for everybody here to make me feel comfortable was like huge for me. It just was like just a big transition. It was really, really, really easy. Yeah. Because I knew what I was doing and why I was doing it. So I think that's been like a huge change and I'm in a good place with that.
Yeah, I think that when you taught your first Saturday class, I don't know if I went to that first one, but I was definitely there for the second one. Yeah. And after the first one, it was like viral amongst the collective members of like little whispers, like, dang, she's so good. Her classes are so hard. It's exactly what we need. And
Who
then
was
that
it?
next Saturday,
who was talking about me?
Everybody was. And then that next Saturday, it was like an influx of, because prior to that, the classes were more female on Saturday, were more female dominant. And so I think word got out, and there's just so many people that came that day. And I showed up that day, and you're like, oh, this is more people than expected. Cool, no problem. But it was like significantly more.
We were like capped at 8 or 12 or something.
Yes, yeah. And then you just totally handled that like a boss. I was like, okay, this is, and obviously like none of us knew any of your background or where you came from as far as like how much experience you had. But you handled that with like so much confidence and great, like you can tell you've been doing this for years. Yeah. And it just like you didn't even bat an eye as far as how many, anybody that would be new would be like, oh my God, okay, so we have this many people. Do we change the workout completely? Like, is there enough machines or what weight or whatever, and you just totally like ran with it. And I was like, okay, this girl's got so much experience.
Oh, well, thanks. I think I was really blessed in how I worked over the past few years. So like my previous job, I was coaching huge classes, huge classes. And I was like in love with what I was doing. Yeah. And I think with the experience, it's just from making mistakes. I still make mistakes. If you listen to me in class, the other day I was like asking people to do math for me because I don't know, I'd mess it up. And I still got it wrong. We had like an extra 18 minutes of class. And I was like, oh okay, well, here we go. We'll do another round. Like it's like confidence in making mistakes. That's been good, I think. You probably didn't know, and I probably was panicking or like truly like in my head, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like if it messes up, no one cares. And so then it's just like knowing that is nice.
Yeah, and I think that the way that you handle that, like you're so vocal and open of just like, you're so...
You guys, I can't count. Yeah. Just so you know, we may do another one.
Yeah. And I love that because it makes us feel like relatable with you,
Yeah. It's going to be a hard workout no matter what. I know what I'm doing in that way. But I didn't go to college for math, sweetie. So, like, don't expect that from me.
Yeah, if we show up to Tess's class, like, you got to show up with your best foot forward.
Yeah, and a calculator.
And a calculator.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and you also know, I think I think every coach here at Collective is that way too, but you know how to push people and like where their limits are, and that's also really hard when you're handling a big class because you don't know these people and some of them only come once in a blue moon, but to stand beside them and you push them just a little bit more and you give everybody individual attention, which makes them feel seen. At least I could be speaking for a ton of other people, but for me, when you show up and you're like, okay, she believes that I can take this up 10 pounds, maybe I'm not. So I love that. And the way that you motivate people is so big. And it's also not this like, oh my God, she's making me pick up 10 more pounds. Like I can't do it.
It's usually one of these. It's like,
yeah, that's exactly the look.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's exactly the look.
I think a lot of coaches would say the same thing. Like that's an experience thing. And it's also, I think in this industry a lot of industries, but this one specifically, people are oftentimes like really intuitive. Like I can sometimes, like if I've just met a person, I can kind of guess, this is so messed up, but I can like guess what motivation style they need because everybody needs different motivations. Some people need me to yell at them across the room, like give them a hard time. Like I yell at Kyle all the time in class where I will be like, it's boat season, Kyle. What are you doing on the other side of the room? Some people would be mortified if I did that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I guess, reading the room. Yeah. I don't know. That's experience as well. But I'm sure you probably do that in your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. When you interact with so many people, I think you get that experience over time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. People respond to different type of leadership differently.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to be called out.
Yeah, I'm sure half the people in class probably only work hard because they don't want me to yell at them across the room. They're like, oh, no. Oh, no. But I mean, also, like, personal training wise, it's the same. Like, even if it's a one-on-one, all my clients need different motivation. Like, some of my clients, I have to be like, am I going to have to film you?
Yeah.
Like, do I have to pull my camera out for you to work, you know? And some of them, it's like, man, they're just driven, you know? It just depends on the person. I think it's kind of, it actually keeps this job fun for me. Like, I have ADHD. I'd be bouncing around. It's not like a secret that I'm overly caffeinated and need to be like on, I don't know, Adderall or whatever. But sorry. But so many moving parts in this has made it easy for me to like, it is exactly what I should be doing. Yeah. With who I am, I think. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just so much different, constant movement.
Right. You would not be a desk person.
Oh my.
Imagine Tess.
Have you seen how many times I've moved in this chair?
Imagine Tess behind the desk.
I wore the world's most ripped jeans today. No shoes.
No shoes.
My work shirt, my workout hat, and everybody was like, Tess is in real clothes.
Yeah, she owns a pair of jeans.
Imagine me at a computer. And that's something, I have a lot of respect for people who do that.
Yeah.
I could never.
Yeah.
It's not never. You. I mean, it would take the life out of me, I think.
You would not be living your full potential if you were behind a desk.
No. Oh, that scared me.
It's the AC.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it cool in here.
It's hot in here. It's hot in here. No, yeah. But I agree. I think it actually scares me. And maybe I need to do it because it scares me, but like, I know this is like a thing where people who are like super hyper or ADHD people like hyper fixate on things. When it's something I want to do, like editing, I love creating and sitting. I can sit for hours doing that stuff without even knowing it went by.
Really?
Yeah. Don't tell anybody that.
Wow.
But I can sit. Look at me. I can
if
sit.
If it has your attention, you can focus.
Or like if I'm with someone like right now, sitting's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was monotonous work, I think I would struggle. Yeah. Actually, I know I would struggle. Yeah. I don't know how I made it through school.
I'm so thankful you are not behind a desk. So many people would be missing out on your personality.
I wouldn't be the same. No one would even know I had one. I think that's true of every like profession out there.
Yeah.
If you're in what you really enjoy, if you're doing what you enjoy, like your personality and your light will shine. Yeah. And I think there are a lot of people who aren't doing what they want to be doing. Yeah. And I always tell my friends this. I'm like, just imagine, and actually a friend, Tony, you might know Tony here, we just had this conversation, like, imagine if everyone was doing what they love to do, like how much better the world would be, because everyone would just be so much happier. Good. You know?
Wow.
Like,
that is so good. Yeah.
If I was at a desk, I'd be miserable. I'd be a different person.
Yeah.
But since I'm like, I've been given this opportunity and I am doing what I like to do with people I enjoy being around, it's like, I feel like I'm, you know, bringing some positivity to the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that, and it's also been, I'm sure, throughout your history, just little pockets of living outside of your comfort zone, right? Like you said, when you first started teaching group fitness, you're like, oh my God, hi, my name's Tess, you know? But those little moments of being uncomfortable, and so many people, and I would say I was one of those people when I was a speech therapist for so long.
Yeah.
And just living in, because when it's not everything God created you to be, you're living in silent frustration.
Yeah.
You know, until you do something about it.
Yeah, and I think there is like a way for people to, you know, do what they love, even, you know, while they're working, you know, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Are you doing what you love?
I am doing what I love now, especially now with this podcast, because I get to know incredible people like you and your stories more, so that's what I'm more interested in.
My stories?
Just stories, you know, because I feel like that's what impacts people. And, you know, maybe somebody can hear this story and say, I've always wanted to be a group fitness instructor. Like, this is my ticket. you know?
Yeah.
What would a piece of advice be for somebody that was wanting to go through the ranks like you?
In fitness, like group fitness specifically, or just in...
Or however you want to take that question.
Oh, some advice. I would say make light of all of it, because it is like a grimy, gross job. People are they're putting themselves out there. They're very vulnerable. You're kind of vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like, it could be terrifying for somebody to come to the gym and like really work. You have to make it... You don't have to, but what I feel like has helped me is like making it safe for mistakes and for uncomfortable moments, because it's not supposed to be an easy thing for people to be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like even if it's like a yoga class, stretching can be uncomfortable, but like, I think I know some really good coaches, like yoga coaches here, who like will make jokes while it's yoga, and it's like, oh, we're all struggling together. Like it makes it okay. And I think that's huge. That, and show up for the time that you're there for people, like be really present. I think the only reason I've gotten anywhere in fitness is because I take time and like really try to bring myself like to the present moment with people, rather than just like on my phone. There's so many people like who are on their phone, you know, like burnout or whatever, and maybe whatever the reason, but like people are there for you, with you. And I think realizing that, making it like somewhere they want to be and a safe place for them to grow and be pushed, has been like the only reason I've made it here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, that's amazing advice, because that's so true. I don't think people realize, I mean, I have so much respect for you for so many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is when you do show up, yes, you are present, but people don't realize that it actually takes a lot, because if you're going to give of your cup, like, you have to fill your cup.
Yeah.
So you got to work on
5 a.m. classes, you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. But like you said, if you're teaching these early morning classes, you're not up 30 minutes before just to show up for that person. You're up...
I'm up at 3
a.m., getting your mind right, starting your day off right, so you can be. That's
actually true. But I wouldn't... Yeah, and it's tricky because it's not like I would recommend it. It's not for everyone, but it has changed my entire life path.
Yeah.
And I think the path of people who interact with me too. Yeah. And I think it just makes it such an enjoyable experience for both parties, because I can feel like I'm there, rather than, you know, when you're like at work and you're tired and you're just like, you know, it's never fun. But like, once you wake up a little bit and you're in good spirits, it's like, okay, I can do the work. That's how it is. But my work just happens to be with people. So for me specifically, that's huge. If I don't have those hours in the morning to like wake up and be intentional, I can't do anything for anyone else. And that's my whole job.
Yeah. I hope the listeners take that piece, because it's so big.
Yeah. And it's also, it's not like a sacrifice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I'm a huge believer in the idea that if you're going to be like working for people, like do it for people. You know what I mean? Because I could selfishly sleep in every day.
Yeah.
But I've like kept this mindset, and it's because I'm insane. Like, it's because I'm insane. But I'm like, all right, I'm going to be the best for whoever it is. Even if it's 2 people, like, what's another hour's sleep? I don't even need it.
Yeah.
Which isn't the right way to go.
Well, you know what? Maybe it is to be, I think, and that's the purpose of this podcast, because like it's the truths that you found out about this grind, right? And I imagine that when you first started teaching back in the day, you weren't like this. You know, you developed these habits.
Yeah.
And to be at the level and the confidence and the joy that you have to sow into people, like you have to put in that work, you know, at some point.
Yeah. And I think there are like moments where I've looked back and been like, oh my God, I could have done so much better for someone. Or honestly, like the failure moments have stuck with me a lot. Like, I know people who have quit the process because maybe not to blame on me, obviously everyone's in their own journey.
Responsibility though.
But like they expected something from me, and you can fail people. That's the insane part of me, that I'm like, I don't want anybody to ever feel like they didn't get the best of me in that way. Like, if they're on a journey, then I want to, like, be a positive part of it. Because I've had people in my life who have changed everything, like professors in school, you know what I mean? Coaches I've worked with along the way, people I've looked up to who have made it possible for me to get here in shape, like my job. Yeah. No matter what part of my life that I'm at, it's like there are very few people who I look at and I'm like, if it wasn't for you being who you were, I wouldn't be where I am. You know what I mean? And I always like getting the chills thinking about it because I want to be that for people. Like, that's what that's why I wake up. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to fail somebody like that.
I get emotional because I hope people realize, like, when you find your why, right, and it moves you, like you said, like chills, like or tears, right, and that's what wakes you up in the morning. Because to wake up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning,
I like it now. I like it now.
But you have to find that why that like gets you up and you're so excited to be there. Like for me, honestly, filming this podcast, normally I film like, or whenever it's convenient for the guest, right? But you're like 9 a.m. I'm like, bet. But it literally keeps me up at night because I'm so excited, you know? Yeah. But finding whatever it is for anybody out there listening, you know, do some digging on what that is for you.
And it's like for a long time, probably up until I lost my last job, maybe before that. I mean, I knew what my why was. I knew what I was doing and why I was doing it. It felt good. I love making people feel good. I love watching people grow and helping people. But until really recently, I've just come to this realization of like, okay, this makes sense. I've had people in my life I don't know, I just want to be that person for people. Yeah. You know what I mean? It took a long time for me to figure it out, but it is so worth it. Like if someone's listening right now and they're like, oh, but I've done that exercise, like the why. It takes time.
It does.
Sometimes, but like sticking to, like if something feels good to you, even, you know what I mean? You don't have to have the exact reason, but if you're like, man, I'm good at this, I see like a future in this, you have to maybe pursue it to figure out exactly what you're going for. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like follow the good parts in it if you're unsure right now. Yeah. You know? Because I think people get so discouraged. Like, well, I don't know what my why is. Girl, boy, I've been there. You know?
Yeah. We all have. Yeah. And I think just to add to that, it's like taking just an action. Right. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have this fully painted picture. Right. I mean, I would say even this podcast, I'm like, I have the name, The Chase and the Truth. Maybe I'll do it. Thank you. Which is awesome. Thank you. But I would say, I'm like, maybe it's supposed to be with real estate agents. Right. And then as I'm doing it, I'm like, no, I'm so interested in just people. Yeah. Right.
I read your description of it that you'd sent me this morning to Matt, and he was like, that's so cool. Yeah. Like, it's a great concept.
Yeah. You know, well, and it's not, I would say, I don't take the credit because I feel like that's from God. Like, I was just pursuing action.
But you took,
Yes. And he'll put it all together.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so important because I think there's so many people who are unsure because it's scary to take the next step a lot of times, especially if you're like settled into what you're doing or comfortable. Man. Yeah. I think about that a lot. Like, without the worst parts of my life, I wouldn't have figured out like how much more I could have. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sometimes we're like, this is so good, it's hard to let it go. Yeah. And think that there might be something better on the other side.
Until like, and then if it's forced, sometimes I think that's deep reflection. Like, and I'll be completely transparent. My last job was my dream job. Like, thinking about it, it's like heartbreaking to me. But having that snatched away was like the best possible thing that could have ever happened to me. And I really feel like that's the truth. Wow. And I had everything I could have ever wanted there. Wow. Like, when I say that, I'm so serious. I never felt more fulfilled until I do. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
That gives me chills. Yeah. How did you handle that moment of when it was taken away? What was that you went through, and what were some? Because I feel like, I mean, if you're pursuing something great, chances are you've experienced that.
Yeah.
And there can be some low lows.
Yeah, and that was November.
Wow, so this is very recent.
Yeah, right before Collective. And I'm fine now. But, when I tell you that was the lowest point in my life, I had no idea. And I think that's part of the lesson I've learned is not to, put every single egg in your basket, to, have some self-worth as well. But,
that is a word, Tess.
when I tell you,
that is a word.
I was working this job for, 15 hours a day, every day.
Wow.
Every day for years. I got internally promoted. That's why I moved to Austin, to our headquarters of the company I was working for. Still 15 hours. So uncomfortable, so much growth. I felt like every day I was hitting some kind of goal, doing some kind of thing. And then without it, I blacked out the day I lost that job. I barely remember it. I just remember the people who stuck up for me in that moment. Mm-hmm. There were very few, but every female that I had hired left the company that day. It's such a blur.
Wow.
Was at my house that night. It was
wow.
the most moving and mortifying thing that's ever happened to me. It felt like I'd been cheated on and punched in the face, abused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you give everything to something, and then what do you have without it? And that's what I felt for weeks. What do I have without it?
Yeah. You're
literally
grieving an actual loss, right?
Yeah. Of individuals as well.
Yeah, wow.
My dream was lost, and every person in that, yes. To the point where, I had made that my identity, moved to a new city, and only been in that place, you know what I mean? And
that was your bubble.
Right. And so without it, and no one was even allowed to talk to me. So I was literally shocked. It was so sad. I look back on Tess 3 months ago, and I'm oh man, what a moment.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But then it's realizing, okay, life isn't over, you know?
Yeah.
My parents helped me a lot.
Yeah.
My family helped me a lot without even knowing it. I didn't tell I have 3 brothers. I didn't tell them for months.
You have 3 brothers?
Yeah.
Older or younger?
2 older and 1 younger.
Okay.
And I was so embarrassed because I had such a good thing going, and they were all everyone was so proud of me.
Right. That was your identity.
Yes. My family was so proud of me, and I just remember feeling like the world's biggest disappointment, which isn't fair to put on yourself. Yeah. But thank God for my family, because, and a few close friends who I'm still very close with. But, just reminding me a little bit, maybe you just put your toes in the water too deep, all of them.
Yeah.
And you've forgotten how you got that job. You didn't just get lucky.
Yeah.
And I think realizing that it wasn't just lucky, I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was a self-worth journey for me, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah. In so many ways.
That's amazing, Tess. Just to relate to you a little bit, same thing, not in losing a job, but I was a part of a previous job as well, where it kind of just came all crumbling down.
Yeah.
And there's this moment of fight or flight.
Yeah.
Right? What are people going to think?
Mm-hmm.
I've dedicated everything. What if they look at you like the bad person, right? And you're but I'm not. And you want to make that so, you want shout it from the rooftops, it wasn't me. Or
yes.
This is my story, right? And I remember talking to my mentor and because it literally felt like I was underwater trying to swim. And I'm in real life, I'm not a really good swimmer either. So
me either. Actually, me either.
So
good.
But I was, I talked to my mentor. He's it's in 2 months, Kristen, you're going to be in such a bigger place. It's not
so hard to believe.
And you're he's just believe in me until I believe in you.
Okay. You're okay, I'll try.
Yeah.
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 How long ago was that?
About a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you look back and you're
they were right.
Yes. You're who was that girl and who am I now?
Yeah. And then you think about that person who you talk to, your mentor, and you're
yeah. You're oh, they're so right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you talked to your parents, and they were, thank God for, for good families and good parents that will breathe life into you when you need it and remind you.
Yeah. And they didn't know, I don't think anybody knew to do for me at that moment. I don't know. Do you even...
Where does your family live?
My parents live in Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
State?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that where you're from?
No, I'm originally from Pennsylvania. So I have a brother in Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, as far as you can get away from me. I have a brother in California and a brother in Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, so just, like, do you know where I was working?
I do.
Yeah, F45 and everything, yeah. That was very tricky because of the role itself, and I had built my brand around it, too. So, like, I think that's something, like, the rebrand of my online presence as well.
Okay.
That's been, like, kind of saving me. You know what I mean? Like, very much fun. And I love, like, you have to find something. If you have, like, had a big loss, it's kind of nice to have an outlet, but also something that's going to, like, move you forward.
Yeah.
I think. Because you get kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have any idea what to do. All I knew was, like, to keep doing it. And so I had this hobby of Instagram that I was like, all right, well, here's my only opportunity. Like, I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
But, like, that
so time into that.
Yeah. Because I've only been on Instagram a year and a few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you on social media at all before that?
I mean, I had an Instagram. I think I probably posted like once a year on my Instagram. It's my personal account that I'm on still.
Okay.
But I never really did anything on there.
So now you're not representing a previous brand. Now it's like it's Tess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the greatest thing that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
Because it's really you behind the...
And you know, it's been really crazy. And not that it's like karma or anything like that, but I just felt I was so grateful because like the first few videos I had with Lisa and Romaine, those people I filmed content with here, I like edited them up, posted them, and like 4 in a row were like 3 million views, like right away.
Stop.
And I just remember being like, thank God I didn't just quit. And I've left everything up. You know what I mean?
Wait, thank God I didn't just quit.
Yeah. Because I wanted to so badly. I had no idea what I was doing. And when I say I have no idea what I was doing, I'm sure you can relate, but like I just remember sitting and being like, who the hell am I anymore? So deep. It was so deep. And then I was like, you know what? Let's take a chance. I flew to California, filmed the stuff, flew back here, filmed the stuff, posted up, and then it succeeding and me being separate from that brand was like the best thing for me. I was so grateful for that, like everybody online who even like interacted with it at all, and like Lisa Romaine filming it, and just like so many things, and I got very lucky in that.
Yeah.
Because that really boosted me.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, I don't know if you believe in God or not, but for me, I hear that story and I'm like, God's taking this away from you because it's not Tess under whatever brand it could have been. It could have been not even a fitness related brand, but it's you, it's Tess. That's the story.
It felt so good. And it like continues to feel good. You know what I mean? I have no doubt in what I'm doing. I'm back to that place, but now I'm not trapped. Because before it was I had no doubt what I'm doing, but I'm on these screens at F45, and I was scared to say things that weren't.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to disagree.
Yeah. You can say whatever you want here today.
Yeah. I just can't, gotta be smart, but like.
Oh, no, I mean like cussing, anything like that. You're good.
Good. Hell yeah. No. But like, as much as I loved that job, there were limitations for me that I didn't even think about because I was so...
You're so in it.
I was so in it. You just get blinded, like rose-colored glasses or whatever it is, And then, like, now, I can say what I want.
Yeah.
And it's not like they were stifling me.
Yeah.
And I was doing a great job. And I was getting to travel the world and meeting all these people. But those people are still there. And those people are still...
Drinking the
for
juice.
Me.
You
drinking the juice, yes. But like also they're still for me. It wasn't necessarily that I was with this brand that made them want to be around me necessarily. Does that make sense? And that realization, that like self-worth switch, where I was like, I actually know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like I went to college,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of experience like realizing, okay, like I'm more than just that, and maybe people actually just want to be around me or like watch my stuff was cool. That was cool.
Well, and I will say, just as a collective member, and then seeing you come in, I'm thankful that you went through that journey, got all the experience, because how you show up today for people, and then your classes, I mean, the way you, I was just always shocked. I'm like, how does she put these classes together?
I don't know.
How do you manage like this big group? And even when we have the community workouts here too, like you're so good at what you do just on the day to day, but the behind the scenes of you just being your goofy self, like behind the scenes, but I'm just saying like interacting with you like here around the gym, like I love that and just have so much respect. But wow, even more respect, like knowing this story, because you have to, when you're that low, you don't just overnight get that joy and confidence back.
Right. Like, and you know what helps is like people like you, people here, and just being allowed to be.
Yeah.
And I think like being allowed to be, period. Like show up how you want to show up, period. And I think without, Jeremy, Dev, Jordan, Simon, all of them here, and every member here, it's been that. Like I can show up as myself and know, like I'm walking around with no shoes on today.
Yeah, and I took my shoes off in honor.
Yeah, censor it, but I'm not gonna show them, not for free. Yeah, one thing I learned since I've been here, not for free.
Not for free.
No, but like even today, like walking around with no shoes on, Dev was like, okay. He was like, yeah, it suits you. Like that kind of moment where it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like you're showing up as you are.
And I'll take love you.
Yeah. It works, and that's cool. It's so much bigger than I think people realize.
Yeah.
To be allowed to do that.
And to be who you really are.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why desk job wouldn't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why it would not work for you.
But I think that's why Austin's happier than most cities, is because people can work from home more here.
And they're also like going on long walk and talks on time.
Yeah.
That's like the thing to do.
And dog friendly.
Dog friendly. I'm such a dog person.
Good.
So
You're good. That's red flag.
I know.
Yeah.
That's actually in dating. If a guy doesn't like dogs, I'm like,
dude.
If they own a cat, I'm like, also.
I mean,
sorry,
okay.
bro.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm one of those people where it's like, you know what? As long as they can love another animal, okay. I'll take the cat. And Nike doesn't like my cats, my dog. But like,
how old is Nike?
He's 15. He's my son.
15.
You know what's funny?
Did you get him as a puppy?
Yeah, he's been with me half my life. I talk about him on everything I've ever done. It's on Nike, me and Nike. Aww. Yeah, every house, every job, every boyfriend, every friend.
He's been there for all the highs.
Everything, yeah. I almost, this is half a joke, but also half serious. I almost didn't take this job because I couldn't bring him with me. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, guys. But like, the freedom to make my own schedule has been nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
you get Nike time at home.
Yeah. Yeah. He can take some rests and I can go home when I want. But yeah, because with my last job, I could bring him. It was like my studio, so I like made the rules.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, don't worry.
Well, Austin is such a dog place that every member would be walking in with their dog too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Exactly what they said. And like, it's so clean in here. They do such a good job keeping it clean. Yeah. I would hate to,
Well, I don't know if you know this, but because you're really good friends with Connor.
I love Connor.
And the way I've been asking guests on here, it's really just like a nudge from God. Like I would interact with somebody and then I leave with this thought like, oh my gosh, they should be my next guest. And also had hesitation with asking Connor. And then I remember like waking up on a Saturday and thinking like, because I think I went and booked the class and I was like, oh my, I just saw your name and I was like, Tess should be my next guest. And I'm like, no, I don't know about asking Tess. Like I was so nervous just because you're so great at what you do.
Oh,
and I think I asked you that day. But Connor's like, oh my gosh, when you interview her, and just went on and on about you and like who you are and the work that you've done, and nothing about your story, but he's like, she's got an amazing story. And you have done so much work to just live in the present. We're all like, oh, Tess will never answer her phone.
That part's true.
Like, on Tuesday night for his birthday, we're like, somebody texted us, like, oh, she's not going to answer her phone anyway.
Yeah, you're right. I told Connor that too. I said, well,
both of you guys don't look at your phones.
Yeah, but one thing that Connor does so well is that.
Yeah.
I called Connor crying last night. Mm-hmm. We talked till like midnight.
Wow.
He's, you know, those people who are just so genuine. Like, he shows up, and this is something, when I see people like that, I have so much, it's like an automatic respect for these people. You know what I mean? Like, he tries to impress nobody. You know, he's doing what he is doing. You know, and it's all good. His intentions are always good.
Pure.
So pure. And like an automatic respect and automatic trust. I've known Connor for less than a month.
Yeah.
This guy's like, I don't know. I just have a lot of respect for the way he moves with people, and I look up to him, and I think that's really important. Like, finding people you can be like, have you heard the saying, like, find people who are better than you?
Yes.
That's how I feel. You know, and it's like important, no matter where you're at, to find somebody or multiple people, to be surrounded by people who are going to be better than you. And I tell him this all the time. I'm like, I aspire to be like you in this way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people need to hear that more than you think. Even the people who are higher up than you might, you know, like, I bet a lot of people are living their best life and have not heard that in a long time. Not that it's like required, but it is like nice to hear.
Or you just assume, like, probably get that a lot. So
or
I'm
like,
not gonna...
people online probably say this. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You know what I mean?
No, it's very rare to find. I mean, there's a ton of good people in the world doing
so many
good, big things. But to find people that are so pure-hearted and operate not for the glory of anybody else, not to impress anybody else.
Yeah.
But they just walk in and treat everybody the same, but equally as, not just the same, but equally as special.
Yes. And the special part, treating people special, because literally everybody is. And I think that's like massive. Yeah. Once you realize everybody, I mean, it's like a kind of an online joke, like everyone's the main character of their own story or whatever. But like actually realizing that is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. You just have, like, you're able to grow such a, like, patience almost.
Yeah.
I think he does that really well.
Yeah.
And he's a good listener because he's not on his phone.
Right.
You know, if you're anybody who's my friend, I'm like the world's hardest person on my friends because I want them to, like, succeed. I'm sorry to all of my friends, but, like, even people I barely know, even my bosses here.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm having a conversation and somebody's like this, I'll, like, tell them.
Call them out.
I'll tell them. I'm like, I don't want to finish this conversation until you put it down. People don't hear it enough.
Yeah.
But it makes such a difference to talk to somebody like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And have an actual deep-rooted conversation, not just like, oh, did you see the last thing on Instagram that went viral?
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're busy, you're busy.
Yeah.
That part I respect. But it's like the, you know, I don't know, just the scrolling or the not being present thing that I feel like I got that a lot in my journey, and thank God for that. You know what I mean? If people didn't call me out for being, you know, not the best in that way, then I wouldn't have wanted to be better. But when somebody, especially somebody like you respect or you look up to or whatever, when somebody says that to you, it's like, oh, it's like a punch in the stomach. And I like to do that to people. That's my whole job.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you also have the personality for it.
True. I get away with whatever I want to do. Maybe not everything.
No, you do. But you know what? The people that can say that are the people that do it. They live it. Right.
And
so
it's
you're
with
like,
love.
respect.
It's with love.
Yeah. Oh, I'm the person here, like, call me out because I want to be present.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you do a great job.
Thank you. But, you know, it's harder than you think. And we say this like, oh, yeah, it's so easy. I mean, it is hard. And we're all normal human. Like, I know Saturdays I'm like, okay, Kristen, I literally set this little, like, dial timer to get work done so that I can consolidate all my work on the computer time.
Yeah.
And then put this away.
It's smart.
You know?
I still
do
get
what
distracted.
works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's going to be perfect, obviously.
Yeah.
And I tell all my friends the same thing. I'm like, if you don't call me out, I don't want to be friends with you.
Yeah.
I want to be around really, like, when I say friends with you, I'm friends with everyone. Like, I love everyone. But, like, the people who really, really, really know me and like spend time in my house and things, like who, I don't know, it's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
They better be making me better.
Has your group of friends, because I know I went through a friend transition when I got into the lending business and stuff, and part of that is so hard to leave behind because that's what's comfortable. And you're like, but they were with me and they were part of this season. Have your circle of friends changed, especially with this last transition?
Yeah.
And now, and
I was just on a treadmill with Jordan, and I told him I feel like I'm dating for friends in a way, like true close friends.
Yeah.
And it's
inner circle friends.
Terrifying. It's heartbreaking. It's like I've never lost so much in my life as I did this past year. I mean, I moved away from like a 6-year relationship. I moved from all my friends in Fort Worth for this job. I lost every person at that job, and they now like resent me because they've gotten this story of me that's not true. You know, like, here I am, like completely alone in the city. And I'm like such a deep individual secretly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love this, like one-on-one interaction. And I love being around really cool people. And it's like, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, I don't know. I was just talking about my really good friend, Liza. You may know her. She works at the front desk at Collective South.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because she was one of the people I had hired. Actually, Liza was a member of mine at my last studio, or my first studio in Fort Worth. She was a member. And then when I moved to Austin, long story short, she ended up in Austin. I hired her as a coach there. When I was fired, she quit that day, was at my house that night.
Wow.
And now I got her hired at Collective because, like, those are real people. But she's one of the only people in person that I still have here in person who has, and my other friend Lexi, who has been with me through multiple chapters.
Oh, wow.
Like this journey. You know what I mean? Because it feels like it's been chopped, kind of, and like swept away.
Yeah.
And all those people are kind of hidden, and it's hard. It's like really hard.
Yeah.
But also, it's just insane to think about.
It cuts way deeper, especially when you're people oriented.
Yeah.
And
you're alone.
And you're alone. And it's hard. I don't know if you're like me, but it takes me a lot to open up to people and be vulnerable.
Okay.
So when I get to that point, I'm like, okay, I've sewn into this person. And then when it just gets cut off, you're like, ow.
Yeah.
And now I got to go do that again. But exactly like you said, dating for friends.
It is dating for friends. Yeah. And like, I mean, it's a lot of growth. It's a lot of like reflection. It's a lot of like, what do I want? You know?
Yeah.
What am I looking for in people? Because I will love people no matter what. However they want to show up, I'm cool with it. Like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you know what I mean? Killing anybody. But like, it's the people I want to aspire to be like, and that I look up to and have a lot of respect for in certain ways. That you have to kind of like find your niche, especially if you're still trying to grow. Right. You know what I mean? Because I am.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get stagnant, and I think, not that anybody would make me stagnant. No one I hang out with, like, if you're hearing this, you're not making me stagnant. But you know what I mean? Like, there's so much room for growth, and I want to be around people who are aligned.
Yes. And that changes as you get older. Like, I'm 34 now, but when I was 30, that was just 4 years ago. I was a totally different person. Yeah. And so when I look at, okay, 4 years from now, 38, like, dang, who am I going to be? That's
crazy.
Like,
you look like you're 27. By the way, I can't believe you're 34.
Thank you, but it's just the genetics.
Lucky.
Yeah, no. Thanks,
looking
Mom,
like
Dad.
a trucker.
No, girl, please. Everybody wants to look like Tess. It's I think here it's the Longhorns.
I went to Baylor, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. I mean, like, the amount that can change in a week.
In a week.
Like, that's huge too. I've thought about that a lot. Like, wow. I could never, and you could probably relate to this, start of last year, would I have guessed where I would be? No. Never.
Yeah.
In a million years. Dude.
Wow. Yeah. That's a thought.
Like, where did you think you were going to be and where are you?
Yeah.
And the things that happen throughout the year, it's like sometimes when I get frustrated, like I'm not moving fast enough or I'm not doing this, you know what I mean? That is a thought that I like to go to because it's just like, first of all, didn't expect this, you know? Second of all, life is crazy and look where I am.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take a second, chill.
Yeah. Wow. I am like, I mean, the whole story just blows me away. But people don't realize, like, you kind of got to go through it to become someone.
Yeah.
And you can't expect to become someone great without a couple of gut punches.
Yeah, a lot of gut punches. Or huge ones.
The biggest thing, and I relate this because my sister, you know, plays golf in college.
Yeah.
She's about to graduate, and she went through this journey, and I think it relates to a lot of people of tying your identity to whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest gut punch maybe for you.
Oh, yeah.
Was it? Like, your identity was in that, and then now
it was
undoing
more my worth.
that. Your worth.
Identities, I think, can change, but when you tie in, this is all I am, as like a worth feeling, it's hard. Yeah.
That's so, yeah.
You can't tie your worth to, and that's true in relationships too. Like, people will get in a relationship, and if they're not making their partner happy, they aren't good enough.
Yeah.
And I've been there. A lot of people have, you know, but the worth tie has to be within yourself, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's not anyone else's responsibility to make you feel worthy of yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And B, it's just not healthy.
Yeah. But it's also so sneaky for your worth to get
like
tied
almost
to
the same. It's like
anything.
synonymous with.
Yeah. Well, because like it's so sneaky for it to be tied to a relationship, or it's so sneaky that all of a sudden it's tied to your job, and you always have to do and you don't even notice. Yeah.
Yeah, because identity, it's like, okay, this is my brand.
Yeah.
But without my brand, I'm fine. But then your brand.
If your worth is tied to that brand.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's terrifying.
Wow.
You really have to be, and I'm not there yet. It's something I'm working on. You really have to be like so self-aware of your moves. You know what I mean? Very reflective. And obviously there's going to be some feelings in there too, but.
Yeah. Were you very reflective prior to all of this happening to you, or?
Yes and no. I think I was moving. I was exhausted without knowing it, because I loved what I did and I just poured everything into it, and I didn't really give myself enough time. I always say, like, right before I left Fort Worth, I had this like self-worth realization of, okay, you know, I could probably be more than I am right now. I'm going to take this risk, start Instagram. Instagram led to this job in Austin, like taking chances on myself. But then the past year, I kind of lost it, because then I was like running for the thing I really wanted without thinking about it.
Yeah.
The second I lost it, I was like, I just lived the most incredible year of my life, and I didn't even blink and it's over.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so since then, I think I've definitely become more
aware,
reflective. Yeah. Like trying to take in the moments.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Tess, you're so much more than just a coach.
Thanks.
You know?
I appreciate that.
And just involved in fitness. You have so much behind your heart.
Thank you.
I mean, it shows up in what you do, but I'm so happy that we were able to sit down today. I feel like if anybody got anything out of this, I mean, one of the biggest things is going through it, but that self-worth is so huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you feel like you're not enough,
you are. Yeah. It's like the biggest thing. Yeah, you're always enough. It doesn't matter where you are, who you're with, how you're feeling. Like, that fact is always true. You might want to be better, but you're not less than enough, you know?
Wait, repeat that one back.
You might want to be better, but you're not less than enough.
Dang. That's some wisdom.
Clip that, dog.
That needs to be clipped.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I really believe in that.
Well, you live it.
Yeah. And I want other people to... I only live it, though, because I want other people to feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can only like be on that soapbox and tell other people if you're living it. So that's that's amazing. Well, and you had said something about you're like, oh, I'm just insane. I'm just like, you know,
I am insane.
You are, but honestly, anybody that's ever accomplished anything great in life, and it's not like medals or accolades on it, but just accomplishing being this great person, a person of greatness, call it. You have to have some level of insanity or obsession towards either developing your potential. Yeah. And that's what you have.
Well, thanks.
So thank you so much for sharing.
Of course. And it's like Mr. Beast, I think. He always says like...
Legend.
Yeah. I want to be like him, honestly.
Same.
And he has some cool stories. You could do a whole podcast about him. He's like an incredible person as well as like business person. His mind is very cool. But he said something similar to, you're always called crazy or insane until you succeed. And then people ask you how you did it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that's like, there is some level of craziness.
Yeah.
And obsession.
Yeah. That's why we're here. That's why we're here asking you, how did you do it?
Oh, girl, I don't know.
How are you here impacting people?
Yeah, I don't know. People like you.
Thank you for that. Yeah. No, it's just, I think we're all part of the same journey. And when you're so like-minded, you start to attract those people, is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I had no idea. I like really didn't know what to expect. I knew we'd be fine. But like I don't know, you're inspiring as well. It's hard to explain, like, there is more about you, too, that I wish this was my podcast to ask you. You know what I mean?
Tables would be turned.
Like, we can chat, obviously, but it is, like, it does feel like that. Like, you start attracting...
the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And then those like-minded people are friends with other like-minded people, and you're like, this is why we're all friends.
If you got to vouch from my friends...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, certain people, they have... credibility. So if they vouch for someone,
and they're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
No, for sure, true. That's exactly what it is. No,
my friends would always vouch for.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would vouch for a rock. Like, I'm like I'm a people's person, but yeah.
This rock is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You first.
No, you first.
You were going to ask me a question.
I was just going to say, is there one last nugget or tip or something that you learned that you would want to share that you haven't already?
I think and I've said this before as well, my dad always said, like, especially if you're unhappy and where you're at, like, if you do what you love and you're helping people, like, any success will follow. And that's kind of the path I've taken, and I think it's a huge lesson. Like, if you're unhappy at your job... Mm-hmm. Figure out a way to help people and love what you're doing, and like your life will be good no matter what. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like whatever success you want will come from that. Like we spoke on in the very beginning, like imagine the world if everybody was loving what they were doing, like how much more positive. I really think that's a thing. You know?
Yeah.
Because you can do both. You can work and love what you do.
Yeah, that's so true. But that start is just, serving other people.
Yeah.
My dad always taught me, thank God for dads with wisdom.
Yes, dads.
Dads with wisdom. But my dad always said, when you lose yourself in the service of others, you find yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
And that's exactly where you've just poured into so many people. And people might think like, oh, she's an overnight success. Girl, no, you put in some work.
I've been an overnight failure many times as well, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Big time.
Dang, that's crazy. Clip that.
Clip that. Yeah, so good.
We're on one,
so
dude.
So good. I know. I could probably talk to you for another hour.
I know. Thanks for having me, seriously.
No, thank you so much for just being vulnerable and sharing your story, sharing who you are, because there's so much more behind a person that's done a lot of inner work. It's the heart. Because you see social media or you hear as a coach and you're like, oh, she's shredded, she's a beast. Because, that mindset comes out when you're working out or when you're coaching people. But to have so much depth, Tess, like you have so much
thank you
to pour into people, and I'm so grateful to have you
on
the show, but just have you here.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming to my class. The
Yeah.
support is like extra helpful too. Like you have no idea.
Yeah, I'm there. I mean, we all.
I can only pour into
Yeah.
people if they're there.
Yeah.
And also coming is scary. Like coming to class is
Yeah.
terrifying. So I understand. Like,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it.
No, and then you encourage people to give high fives. You're like, nobody's giving high fives today.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Slap some skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And the music, all the things.
Yeah, it's got to be lit.
Yeah, always. But thank you so
Yeah,
much.
of
We're going to
course.
have you back on in about 6 months or so and see where you're at.
Okay.
Okay.
We should set a goal. What do you want to be doing? How many people do you want to be reaching at that moment?
Oh, you know what?
You should do it.
Never thought about
You can always
that.
cut this part out
Oh,
if you want.
Yeah. I've never thought about that.
You should set a goal.
I should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll think about that and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Because I don't even know what would be.
Whatever number you
logical.
can come up with is possible.
Yeah.
It's probably too low.
Yeah. You're right.
I set a goal of like 50,000 followers on Instagram in a year, and I'm at 3, I don't know, something.
Wait.
100.
300?
Yeah. Anything that you think is possible is possible.
Wow.
Also, shout out to everybody there because that has changed my life.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
community.
A lot of support.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I need to rethink that because I was like, I could probably get up to like 40,000 followers and like for this podcast listeners. For me, it's like subscribers, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, if I can hit like, I don't know, maybe 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, like actual subscribers, that would be a big deal. But
Yeah.
now I'm like, I don't know.
Well, how many like views do you want on a video? Like little goals like that are kind of fun. We'll make it
Yeah.
happen. We'll make whatever you need to
High
happen.
fives.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.